Go ahead, Carly. Bring us in. Take
It's
us
my
home.
turn.
Yes, I've had a day. Okay.
It has been a day. Well, last time we talked about the stories that we experience. I hate the word story because it makes it sound like it's made up.
Yeah, it's
But
like our life.
I haven't found a better word than story. And every time I listen to therapists and different podcasters, they all say the same thing. It's a story,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's personal or made up or whatever. But our real life experiences, maybe the ones that stick with us forever.
Yeah.
And today
Like Butterface, if you remember the last.
yeah. You guys, I still feel bad. I hope I said to my mom, I said, Mom, I still feel bad. Like, what if she listens to this podcast?
Well, she doesn't know it's her.
And then my mom said, Carly, I doubt she remembers telling you that you were too fat to be her friend. I was like, okay,
nor did she know that was her nickname.
I don't know. I have no idea. But I would be
Well, you can
so sad
beg her
if she
forgiveness
did.
right here. We're sorry.
I'm sure you're beautiful. I haven't seen you in decades.
I am fired up tonight, and excuse the voice. I have gotten something from one of the kids, but
Oh no.
we wanted to talk about something that you got in Costco today. A special surprise?
Well, I mean, lots happened in Costco today, actually. No, well, I got a horrible text from a friend that was devastating, and I found myself in tears, and we can talk about that later, because this podcast is actually about Julie and not me. But
that's not true. She's got stories.
I do have stories, but I pulled myself together. After I called my brother, I checked out. I'm walking out, and I get a text from Julie, and I was like, are you kidding? Like, more
drama.
So I get this text and she says, I gotta move. And I was like, what? And she sends me a picture. And now you guys get to watch a real conversation with Carly, because we have had quite the day, and I have not called her, or we haven't marcoed about any of this really. And so I want to do the download and talk about this text that she sent me. So here we go.
Yes, you get to hear this along with Carly in real time. She's only heard a little bit of the details, and I was like, no, we're going to save it for the podcast because this is juicy. And so she will be interrupting me to ask the questions while they're on her mind. That doesn't bother me. Hopefully it won't bother you, and you'll probably have the same questions. So I will start first with, if you recall, if you watch the vlog, we have a hostile neighbor across the street. And when 2020 came around, and where were you during the Salt Lake City earthquake? Did you guys feel it where you were?
Yeah, I was in my bed.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah. That's right. It was early.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like the day after the earthquake. This is like as soon as the school shut down. So we've got COVID shut down. Schools have closed indefinitely, but nobody knows what's going on. So I'm thinking maybe March of 2020, 2021.
We can go back to your blogs and find out.
Yeah, well, yes, you can. It's all documented. So the kids are outside because, all the teachers were saying, now create a schedule for your kids. Have math in the morning at 10 o'clock, and then at 11, have some reading, and then at 12, go out for recess, and just trying to keep them kind of stable during this pandemic.
None of us were stable.
No, it was a hot mess. So, but I did try to practice the little recess. I'm like, okay, go outside, because I've got 7 at the time kids at home, and we're all stir crazy, and everyone's sick. And petitioner is also home, so he's probably going crazy too, because this is not his normal. And they're outside. I got a house in a cul-de-sac on purpose so that the kids could go out and play. I mean, that's like a perfect location, is a cul-de-sac with kids, right? You can go outside. You don't have to
without being hit by a car.
Right. So they're outside playing, but this neighbor is very anal, OCD. He's meticulous. Like, he takes great care of his yard. But if you've seen back on the vlogs, he attacked us. So he was attacking us for the balls going onto his yard and onto his driveway. I'm like, oh my gosh, heaven forbid the ball goes on your driveway, bro. Like, but he has no kids. He's not married, and for a good reason. I mean, obviously, so he's coming out yelling at the kids for the balls going on his grass, going on his driveway. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Like, you don't own the street, but I just would kind of say, okay, kids, get inside. I've discovered and learned in my old age that, like, arguing with a man like that, you're not going to get anywhere. Mm-mm. No matter how right you are. And so, as much as it pained me and to walk away, I was like, this is the more womanly thing to do.
De-escalating.
Yes, self-control. Because believe me, I wanted to rip into him, but I just went inside. Anyway, a few days go by, but everyone again is very, we're all up in arms, right? Because it's COVID, we don't know what's happening, and I'm trying to cut this story short so I can get to the good one. But
from today,
yes, he comes over to the house at one point, and he's got rocks in his hand, and he's like, I mean, he wasn't hostile towards me. He said, but he blamed us. He's like, these were in my lawn from your kids.
Rocks?
Like pebbles, I should say, pebbles. And he's like, and it ruins my lawnmower. And I just said, I'm so sorry. I don't know if my kids put the rocks on your grass, but if they did, I'm sorry. And just trying to be like, whatever, whether they put the rocks there or not. And they probably did. I still don't know to this day. But I was like, I'm sorry. But the petitioner heard me getting blamed and came out swinging. It was just like, what? Are you accusing my kids? And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm trying to hold him back. Meanwhile, the neighbor's getting heated because he's getting attacked. And then they're kind of in this brawl of these puffed out chests, trying to see who's right.
You de-escalated and they escalated.
Oh my gosh. But my kids are out there watching all of this.
Sure, of course.
So I'm hoping that I'm like, dude, just walk in. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like, you've got little kids that I want them to look to you as an example. And he pushes me to the side. I don't even think he realized that he pushed me.
Like, he touched you? Like, yes. Actually?
Not the neighbor, the petitioner pushed me, but also pushed away everyone else, because when you're so angry, you don't even know what you're doing to the collateral damage, on the side. Anyway, they were both so upset with each other. The neighbor goes in the house and petitioner follows. Is that so annoying to say? I don't even know what to call him.
No, I like the petitioner. It takes away any of, I don't know.
He follows him into his garage, all the way up into his, the door that leads into his house. And I was like, oh my, now he's on his property. They're yelling and screaming at each other. Anyway, petitioner pulls back, comes back to the house. Neighbor comes out with a rifle, and he's swinging it with
like
his
a hunting rifle,
like a full-on long, big old rifle. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I call the cops. I'm like, oh my gosh. We got a crazy neighbor who is waving his rifle at us.
And this, mind you, is in the city limits. I grew up in unincorporated county land. So we had a city address, but we were in the woods. So, but when you're in, you drive into Julie's neighborhood and it's houses, mostly houses, maybe a few trees, sidewalks. It's just a neighborhood. You don't anticipate. And it's in Salt Lake County, where it's not, they're all way less into guns, and it's way more liberal. Can I just say that? It's way more liberal in Salt Lake County.
Yeah.
And so I would not have expected your neighbor to full on come out with a rifle.
Yeah, I know. I know. But remember, this is the same neighbor that would hold a hose with the water going on July 4th, because he is convinced his house is going to go in flames because of fireworks. So he'd have the hose holding it with the water coming out. I don't get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of the fireworks.
Because he's anal, and he's got some. So when we have
he's worst case scenario.
Yes. But when you have a crisis, and when people,
he's the last person you want in a crisis.
To snap. Yeah. He's unhinged when he's uncomfortable.
Has he moved, or does he still live there?
Luckily, he's in California most of the time now, but he just was here in the neighborhood lots for 2 weeks. And then he goes back for 5 months, but then comes back. So things are better. But comes out with the rifle. I call the cops, and the cavalry comes, and they've got their big old machine guns, or AK-40, whatever they're called.
Just the guns in the back.
Big old guns, yes. And anyway, my point is, petitioner pulls back, and as soon as the cops come, he's like, it would be me that would have been arrested because I'm black. And I was like, I get it. Okay, what, so he just goes in the house. But that happened with the neighbor across the street.
And did he end up arrested?
I don't know. I didn't see him handcuffed, but he was charged.
Okay.
He didn't go to jail.
No jail time.
Which remind me about that in 10 minutes. So no jail time, was charged. I think he had to pay maybe $400, I heard.
Okay.
So, and then.
But there's a paper trail, and that's the important thing.
Yeah.
So if he ever escalates or does anything,
right. Okay. So we have never talked since.
Shocking! I'm shocked, Julie.
But this is also a guy that has his Ring camera, and if if the kids are out in the circle or even go near his grass, he will yell at them from the Ring camera.
Currently today.
In California.
He will today.
Yeah.
Oh my hell.
But he's in California.
What's he gonna do?
So like the sensors by his garbage go off, or somebody like on his Ring camera that someone's nearby, and he is on his Ring camera on his app.
What would he do if you parked a car in front of his house the camera wouldn't work?
Like, see.
It's legal to be on the street.
Oh my gosh.
So then he couldn't see past his house. That would be amazing.
I mean, it's just a house you don't trick or treat at. But he is yelling at us. If this is the kind of person that you can, and everyone's telling me to watch The Perfect Neighbor. You heard of this show?
I watched it.
Yeah, so that I have not seen that yet.
I watched it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but everyone is commenting about that. So, okay, so we have this altercation with neighbor number 1 and the petitioner, and things have been awkward and awful ever since.
And it's been 5 years.
5 years.
Okay,
but if we leave him alone, he leaves us alone. But it's not even just us. If you walk on his sidewalk, he's yelling at you.
Yeah, I have a neighbor like that.
Good grief. Like, chill.
Is this guy retired?
Yeah, he's like maybe 70.
Yeah, there's a couple in our neighborhood that they're retired, and there's a story that went around about a kid who was rollerblading and accidentally fell into their grass.
Oh, we got in trouble for breaking his sprinkler heads, which for rollerblading. I'm like, dude. Anyway,
rollerblade on grass.
No, it stops you. Anyway,
I'm shocked. I just think it's people looking out their window who have nothing to do.
But the point is, I said to the petitioner, I was like, dude, I was nervous you were going to start throwing punches.
Oh yeah.
He was like, I wasn't going to do that. Come on, I was just. I hate the phrase. He said it was like a pissing contest, which was it's super vulgar, but that's what he said. And it was just puffing out your chest to see he's not going to mess with us anymore. But then like 2 days later, petitioner says to me, I actually don't know if I was going to throw a punch. And I was like, oh, that's great. Like, no, and not to mention 2 neighbors came out to hold him back and he pushed them both off. It was like, you have this strength when you're upset like that.
Well, it's adrenaline.
Yes.
And this is, so I have lots of opinions about things like this because of my dad's occupation.
Her dad is a cop, was a former cop.
He's retired. But when people have that kind of adrenaline, and also cops have to assume that you're hopped up on drugs. They can't assume that you're not. They can't afford it or they will die. Right. But when you are on drugs and adrenaline, you are like unstoppable. Superman, right? Like it is hard to explain. So people who like to be critical of cops in these situations, I'm always like, oh, you should try that. You should go and try and see what's going on. I mean, because I met the petitioner and I was underwhelmed. I was not like, I would not be afraid of this man. Yeah. I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so, but when he's hopped up on adrenaline, I may be.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I would do. And the point is, in like the police academy and stuff, they teach you like people are unpredictable,
right?
And so you don't know what to expect.
No, and you don't want the unpredictable people to snap. Okay, so that's story number 1. So we've already got an issue with that neighbor. Then today, people,
the picture I got coming out of Costco.
Oh my gosh, I am fired up right now. I waited all day
to hear this.
I sent her a picture of the neighbor next door getting arrested.
Okay, when you say next door, like directly,
literally next door, to my right.
Okay.
If I'm looking out my windows, to my right.
Okay, if I'm looking at your house coming in, it's to the left.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Little my sweet neighbor is 85. Her son has been living there with her. Single, maybe 60 years old, maybe he's younger.
Yeah, because I thought the neighbor next to you was really nice and sweet.
She is.
Okay.
Yeah, but single, ornery, racist son. Oh, and speaking of racist, this neighbor number 1 also said to the petitioner, I don't know how you do things, I don't know how you do things where you're from, but in these parts, like in here where we live, and he's like, I knew you were racist. And I was like, oh my gosh, like they have to bring in race just for another little dig, you know? But he probably was racist. I mean, that was his generation. So neighbor number 2 now. Okay, so he's been yelling at my kids for the last few weeks because my kids will go out there and kick soccer balls, and it will hit our fence, and I just really don't care. I don't care if it hits.
And your fence is also his fence.
But it's hitting my fence like this. If you're watching, this is the shared fence. It's hitting this fence. So it's not his fence. It's to my backyard.
It's connected
to my house.
It's connected to the fence that's his fence.
Yes.
But it's not his fence.
Yes.
I see.
So it's hitting my fence.
Perpendicular.
Yeah. Which rattles his. So I get it. They were getting irritated. But it's not like it was causing an earthquake, like we had. So he had said before, quit hitting the ball in the front yard. And I told the kids, do they obey me? I mean, not normally, right? Unless they've been yelled at by him. He's dropped F-bombs at them, muttered awful things under his breath. But I just keep telling the kids, just go in the backyard. Just don't even go there. Go in the backyard. Play in the cul-de-sac. But he's been getting more and more heated. Turns out he was arrested for domestic violence for assaulting, I think, his either girlfriend or ex-wife.
So when? How long ago? Where?
Like 2 months ago.
Here?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. So he is currently taking domestic violence classes.
Like court-ordered
domestic violence classes to be able to purge his contempt. Or not his contempt, but his charge. So.
That might be hard now.
Well, I know this is all so tricky. So Ari, this all kind of goes back to the petitioner because he didn't take his parent time last night. He was supposed to because it's a Friday night, his weekend, but he doesn't come, and he asks if he can come Saturday morning, this morning at 9, and I'm trying to co-parent. I'm trying to be cooperative, and I said yes. And he has made it so that the kids to be picked up have to walk to the church.
Yeah, he is not supposed to come to your house. So that was his choice.
That was his choice.
It's part of your agreement, right? Like he's not supposed to come to the house.
I don't know that it's not like you can't come.
Okay,
but
it's just not expected.
No, he's the one that said, I want them to walk to the church, which is also stupid. Whatever. I just don't like it when it's at 8:30 at night and he drops them off the church and makes them walk home in the dark.
Yeah.
And sometimes that doesn't. It just depends on how generous he feels. So anyway, I say, Ari, go ahead and walk to the church. Ari walks outside, and then Ari comes tearing back in. Mom, Brett is almost ran over me. He's trying to run me over. And I was like, what? And this is coming from Ari, who was very dramatic. But also I've seen Brett yell. Can I say his name? Brett? I can say his name.
Well, this is all matter of public record now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I'm not saying his last name. I don't really care. So Ari comes in, and I go outside, and we have a basketball hoop that is mobile. You can move it around. You just put it on its wheels.
But it's your basketball hoop.
My basketball hoop, okay. And it's in front of my curb. And I had to move it over a little bit, still on my curb in front of my property, but I had to move it so the mail lady can get to the mail box. Otherwise, she will not get out of her car, and she'll just pass, won't deliver it. Mm-hmm. So we had to move it over a little bit closer to not even their side. It's still on my property, my curb. I should put a picture up. So anyway, I believe that he revved his engine and sped up towards Ari just to scare him because he was mad about the hoop. And he has told us before he doesn't like the hoop there because he thinks that the basketballs are going to go onto balls. They're going to go on his driveway.
Not his driveway, his mother's
driveway. Yes, exactly.
Let's remind him this is your mom's house.
And I get it. Like, over the years, my kids have taken their bikes down her driveway because she has downhill. So they like to go down.
Does she herself express any discontentment?
No, she's 85 years old.
I thought that she was nice to you and bought you guys pizza and stuff.
That's not her. That's another sweet little lady. The next door neighbor is old, but she's sweet, And I'm sure it has startled her if the ball hits the fence and rattles. I'm sure she's like, or if a scooter hits her garage.
Or maybe she doesn't even hear it because she's 85.
Thank you.
I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. So she has never complained. And when people complain, I take it into account and I try to tell my kids, please don't. And I've yelled at them.
You care. You love your neighbors. Yeah. You're not trying to cause problems, but you're also one person. There's no man-on-man defense here. This is what do you even call this? One person to 8 children. What does that mean?
Oh my gosh.
That's a whole basketball team.
I am outnumbered, right? So but Brett is already mad just seeing the hoop because he has moved it twice now. He full on takes it himself, moves it over to the other side of the neighbor's curb. And I'm just like, whatever. But my kids will move it back. And I'm like, you guys but the good news is that Brett got a job in Richfield.
Hell yeah.
No kidding. And he left last week. So my kids we were rejoicing. We celebrated.
Yes. Have a party.
We moved the basketball hoop back over. Still on my property, still doesn't even come near his house. And he comes in this morning, probably just, I don't know, visiting on the weekend. I don't know. And is so mad. And I come out because Ari's saying he's going to run me over. So I go out there and he instantly starts ripping me a new one, screaming at me, dropping F-bombs. You have no respect for my property. You have no respect for anyone's property. And I have asked you to move this hoop. And below the hoop are bricks. And they are balancing it because it was like off-centered. So we would put bricks underneath to kind of stabilize it. He pulls down the basketball hoop, rolls it over to the other side of the neighbors, still screaming at me, and takes the bricks and chucks them. Not to my face, not to my person.
P.S. That's a weapon.
Yeah. He throws all 4 bricks. A couple of them are so old that they shatter. It's like inches away from hitting 2 cars. And one of them goes as far as hitting the grass of the other neighbor on the other side of me. Like, that's how far he chucks them. So I'm just picking up the pieces, still yelling at me. You know what? And this and that and this and that. And I just said, okay, Brett, okay. Because I have learned, again, it's not worth it.
You don't get anything out of it.
No. But I also learned, Carly, like, the more that I was calm,
the angrier he got?
Yes. It wasn't,
because he's trying to rattle you and you're not rattled.
No, I wasn't. And you always learn de-escalate and then it will calm them down. No, it did not. It just made him more mad.
Because he's psycho.
He knew that he was out of line because he was saying things that I was like, whoa, dude, like, where is this coming from? And he started to get even more mad because I was cool as a cucumber, And I just didn't.
Do you ever, when I hear about like battered women, this is what I think of is like women.
Practice. I'm not making any assumptions, but I really did have practice. Just being like.
To try and de-escalate things. But I wonder if the women, this has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but when I hear these things, I just have visions of women in my head who are abused, who are.
Get closer to that mic. I'm afraid that it's.
I'm too far away. Now I'm close enough. But I just like when you say, why don't women leave? Or
that's why
it's because they've done all they can. And like, even what they've tried de-escalating, it doesn't work. No. And they get in bigger trouble. And then what else do you do?
It's like they feel better when you fight back because it validates why they're mad.
Well, and they're trying to hurt you. Yeah. And if you give them that reaction, then they've won. Yeah. They've gotten the reaction that they wanted.
Yeah. And so
you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Right. So I was just like, whatever. So I pick up the bricks, I throw most of them in the garbage, and he's still yelling, so I just go inside.
Does he yell louder as you shut your door?
I don't even know. I tuned him out. I walked in, and he went in the garage. So it's done. I mean, but then I should back up a little bit. When I came out to check on Ari, who said that Brett's going to run me over. I came out there to see, and I said, Ari, go to the church to meet him for his custody pickup. But as he's leaving, Ari says, Brett, please don't call me the N-word. So he takes off. So what do you think Ari does when he gets to custody pickup?
He tells his dad all about it.
Yes. He just called me the N-word. So now we've de-escalated. It's over. I leave the situation. I'm like Jesus and I remove myself. I
walk away.
I go back into the crowd away. And this black Telluride comes ripping into the circle. That's what he drives. That's the car he took.
Oh.
So I was like, oh no. And he's pulling in fast. So I know he's heated now. Because Ari goes and, unleashes on him and says, Daddy called me this. So he pulls into the circle and I see it. And it wasn't until he pulled into the circle that was when I called 911. Because I've seen this before with neighbor number 1.
You were worried that something was like the same thing was going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Because I don't trust either of them.
Because of history.
And I know it was a long way of getting to this point, but I had to explain neighbor number 1 to get to neighbor number 2 and why I called so quickly. Because I don't trust either one of them,
Well, they both have. I mean, the guy next to you, do you already know at this point that he's been in those classes and that he's been? So you already know that he told you?
He told me.
Why would he tell you that?
Because he was trying to be a good neighbor. He's like, hey, what's going on with court? And I was telling him about my own court case. He's like, yeah, I have to go to court too. I mean, it's so dumb. I got charged with domestic violence. And I was like, my, note to self. Because since I've been in family court for so long, it's hard to be charged with domestic violence without evidence, hard facts. And so that the fact that he was charged and there was evidence and he has been ordered to take domestic violence classes, I was like, note to self when he's telling me this, like stay away from this guy.
So you literally just had an altercation with him. You know this, that he's been important all of these things, and then you have this past with the petitioner. Mm-hmm. Your gut and everything in your body is saying you pick up that phone.
Yes, and I did. Okay. I called 911, dispatch answers, and I was like, look, I don't want you to send a cop. That was my first thing. I said, there's an altercation out in the front. Ex-husband is talking to a neighbor who is very hostile and yelling at us, but if you send a cop out here, I will be punished later for it. Because he'll just make him more mad. And
he could try and use it against you in court, couldn't he?
Well, I just was like, don't do this, because I've had 3 years of litigation and law enforcement and judges and commissioners, and has never gone in favor of the one seeking protection. Mm-hmm. Ever. You know, for me anyway, until the ruling, which he has now objected. Anyway.
That's a different
Yes, podcast. A whole nother story. So, and we'll get there. Be patient. I got to get this off my
chest.
Well,
we're also living through it still.
Oh my, yeah.
It's not done. You can't talk about it
November
yet.
7th came and went, and we still don't have a ruling. Anyway, that'll come. So back to the argument. She's like, okay, so do you just want to talk to an officer? I was like, yeah, let me just talk to an officer so I can put it on record, because he's already been charged. Just like rack this up. Yeah. You know, add this on to his record. Mm-hmm. So as she's dispatching an officer to talk to me, Adana says to me, Mommy has a knife. And I'm like, what?
What?
Because I had stepped away from the window.
What is going on?
I stepped away for 2 seconds.
And is this like a steak knife, or this is like?
No, if you're watching or if you're just listening, it's a full-on serrated blade.
You're talking about a hunting knife,
pocket knife kind of thing that you like flip out.
Like it's a switchblade.
Yeah, but it's big.
A big switchblade.
Yes,
like a fat 2-inch thick,
with the little jagged edges, and then
it's a hunting knife.
Yes, and I was like, what? So I go over there, and at that point, you know, within the 10 steps that I took to get back to the window, he's put it in his back pocket and throws 2 birds at the petitioner, which I'll put on the screen because it's quite funny. Because this is
have pictures of picture.
It is a grown man with 2 humongous birds coming out of his middle finger, you know, and he is just throwing them.
I can't believe you got that on. Oh my gosh.
I'm showing her the picture.
This dude looks
loser.
I think I would have called him a tool back in my day.
It's so ridiculous because he's just this old man, you know, it's like so immature. So anyway, he flips him off, and she's like, I've got officers coming, because I'm like, this has now escalated.
Yeah.
Because petitioner is out of the car yelling.
You bring a weapon into it, and it's all over.
So the petitioner is yelling at him, and I understand. And if he's listening today, like, I appreciate the fact that you're trying to stick up for Ari and let someone know that it's not okay, but then you left, and we were in more danger than before.
Yeah.
So, like, I get it. You're trying to, like...
He left before the cops came?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll get there. So petitioner gets back in the car, and I see him on the phone. So I'm assuming he's calling too. That's fine. So we're both on calls with, you know, dispatch and 911 and cops and whatever. Meanwhile, Brett is still yelling and screaming, flips him off, then goes back in the garage. Well, while he is flipping him off, I go outside again, because what am I going to do with my phone? I'm going to start filming him, because I have 3 years of documenting practice. So I go out on my front porch, but I can't film because I'm on hold with dispatch trying to get the officer that I was going to talk to. And you can't record the same time that you're on a call. So I was like, suck. So I go out there, and I've got my phone on, and he looks at me, and he's like, oh, now you're filming me, bitch. He says it. I'm like, he just called me a bitch. I don't get called that very much, at least to my face. It's plenty online. So he goes back inside, and I go back inside, and now I'm like, you know, it escalated. You need to send cops. Then petitioner's in the car, but he leaves. I'm like, oh.
So the cops show up.
Dad is gone.
They just find you.
Yes.
Where are you when they get there?
I'm in the house, because I'm like, no one's going out in the front.
And then Brett is where?
In the garage.
Okay.
I'm sure he was waiting for him to come back, because he has this weapon, you know? Or maybe he was working on something. I don't know, but he was in the garage. So 3 cops pull up, and they're coming and telling me the story. Of course, my kids.
3 different cop cars.
3 different cops. Yeah, sheriff, or not, but trucks.
Okay.
And, you know, they talk to me, they talk to him, they talk to me, they talk to him. I call my neighbor. You guys all know Scott, my good friend, who was a former cop.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a good neighbor to have. I'd take
That's a good neighbor. Scott is there. So he comes over and I'm like, Scott, like this is out of control. Like he pulls the knife, petitioner bails. Okay, now this brings me back about this story I wanted to say really fast. This gives you a little perspective. When we were dating, okay, this is a red flag rehash here. When we were dating, we went to some Christmas party of some sort, but it wasn't our party. We were going into an event. And there was a Santa there, like inflatable.
Not a real Santa.
No, like not a real Santa. Okay. Some sort of inflatable or like a balloon. I don't even remember. Statue, something. And Santa has a sombrero on his head. So it's like a Mexican fiesta, La Navidad, right? So it's like a fiesta Christmas party, Mexican Christmas party. And somehow he was messing around and I think he like punched Santa. It was something like that. Something that just messed around with this dumb inflatable. Well, Santa shrinks, pops, starts shrinking. The hat falls off. And guess what?
Oops.
Petitioner does.
Runs away.
And I'm like, what the? And so if these people come, I mean, it's like no big deal, right? It's a big balloon, but like he's just killed it. It's flat now and melting. And he takes off running. And I look back and I talked to someone that was close to him when he left us 3 years ago. And this person said, well, that sounds about right. He's a runner. And I was like, what? And then everything comes into my brain. I'm like, well, that's why he left England. He says on stage that I just felt like the music was going in the wrong direction and I wanted to sing songs more about Christ and not about booty and girls. Well, not really. You got dropped from your record label. So like, was it because you got dropped that you left or was it really because...
I didn't even know he had a music career there before.
In England.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in a boy band.
He was?
Yes. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, he was like, it was called Awesome, which is like so corny, but it was in the 90s. He toured. He had this amazing career. He was touring with Backstreet Boys.
Really?
He toured with
Is that how you know
Nick
the Backstreet
Carter.
Boys?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But they weren't famous outside of the UK. Their biggest hits were in Germany.
Interesting.
Yeah. So how did we get on that? On boy bands?
Oh, well, just Alex.
Oh, he ran. So he got dropped from the Universal. He got dropped. It'll be fine. He got dropped from Universal Records, but I can't see you. I can only see. And but in Firesides says that he wanted, I'm sure that's true. He wanted to sing more spiritual music and whatever. But again, I wonder, was it really because you got dropped? Because
so allegedly,
yes,
he came here not because
his record label dropped him, but because he wanted to be among the Mormons. And I'm sure both are true.
I have no idea.
Yeah. But the point is, bro ran and left me in the problem. And again.
Oh, was it found out? Like, did you have to take
I don't even remember. I don't even remember. I just remember thinking,
like
he just left.
You have to do this now.
It reminds me of Jurassic Park. Wow. When the guy gets out of the car to go to the toilet. When they're like being smashed by the T-Rex and they're like underneath the windshield and they're in the car and she's like, he left us because he takes off for the bathroom and then that's when he gets eaten by the T-Rex. Like I was thinking that with this Santa without his sombrero and he's melting. I'm like, he's just left me here to pick up the pieces. And he did it again with neighbor number 1 and he did it again with neighbor number 2 and he did it to me 3 years ago. There's a history, a pattern here of behavior where he flees, fight or flight, and the dude flees. So,
takes off.
Yes, the cops come. Anyway, the cop comes up to me. He's like, look, we are going to arrest him for...
Him meaning Brett, not the petitioner.
Not petitioner, because petitioner is gonzo.
Yeah.
They did call him, I'm sure. I gave him his information, but I don't even know what happened with that. But he is arrested for disorderly conduct. He is arrested for another charge for property damage. And he's like, I'm like, property damage? The bricks.
I'm sure you miss those bricks dearly.
He finally came up to me. He's like, now how much are these bricks worth? And I said, are you serious? He's like, yeah. I'm like, they shattered. They're obviously very old bricks. And then Scott works with Home Depot, and he's like, they're $1.98. And I was like, he's like, times 4. I'll take that $8. Thank you very much for my 4 bricks. So I get my $8, right? Eventually, the 4 bricks were destroyed. I'm just glad he didn't hit a car. But and then he says to me, now we should be taking him to jail, but I'm going to kind of leave that in your hands. And I was like, oh my gosh. And inside I was kind of like, if you do that, remember, he's just gotten a job in Richfield. And if he gets arrested and maybe loses his job because he's arrested, then he's stuck up in Salt Lake County. Instead of being in Richfield, long gone, far away.
But now you're passing the buck to some poor other family that has to deal with him wherever he goes next.
Exactly. But it's like we've had enough, been tormented him by enough that I was like, I just get him out of here. So I just said, look, all that's going to do, again, is torque him off, because I know he's going to be let out in 3 hours and just come back.
Was he?
Well, he did get taken. Well, I'll get there. So the cop was like, look, I really think that you should. I said, what is that going to do for me other than make him more aggressive to me when you're not here?
Yeah.
And I know this because
history.
And the women that I am friends with in family court are dealing with this with their own former husbands.
Yeah.
So protective orders don't do ish sometimes.
Well, they don't do anything. Here's the problem. It doesn't matter if you're talking about like gun control or protective orders or whatever. They only work for people who follow the law.
Mm-hmm.
People who care about the law, who are afraid of the law, however you want to say it. If they're not afraid of it, they're going to do it anyway. Yeah. And all it is a record.
Right. And that's what we're trying to prove. And this is
so when they make your true crime documentary,
that's right,
they have something to talk about, but it doesn't keep the crime from happening.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and I'm sitting here saying, like, I'm wanting to be this advocate for women to speak up and speak out. And don't be silent. Don't let them gag you. And here I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's fine. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I am backing out like I always have, like we all do.
Well, I want to give you some more credit, though, because you're saying that, but I think you're making calculated. Again, we need to talk about
strategic
judgment.
And what?
Strategic, tactical decisions.
Yes.
We have to talk about judgment at some point in time, because as a mom, you're thinking, am I taking this situation right here and am I going to take it out of the entire context and the past, present, future?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to look at this and say, I'm better off in the future if I behaved a different way? Like you're trying to make good decisions. I think you're too hard on yourself, because I mean, my natural instinct is also to give people the benefit of the doubt and to stay out of drama and all of that. Like, I don't want to get into legal stuff either. So,
and if it was the first offense, I probably would have been like, it's fine. Yes, but like, this is like 20th.
This is a pattern.
This one was just way more, 10 times more aggressive.
The fact with a knife. The fact there was a knife. And who knows with his current stuff that he has going on. The person that he's dealing with may call you and thank you because you just added to her case.
Right. And that's something for all of you women out there. Like, we help each other by reporting things. So one of the things that my domestic violence national expert told me, she said, Julie, you've got to document it and report it. And she said to me, this year is going to suck for you because you have to let them fail. And even though it puts you out, if there's not a custody pickup or he doesn't come or doesn't show up, you document it, even though it sucks for you and puts you out and you're like, oh, this is so annoying. The more you create this record, it's easier for a judge to look at and be like, well, what the heck? Like, you have this many times. So if I were to let that go and not put him in jail, it doesn't count. You have to almost rack up the failures in order for him to maybe on the 5th time that he's arrested, then maybe go to prison for a year instead of just overnight jail. Like, you have to set it up. And it's hard because it's so many times kids die before they get that chance.
Women, children,
because you're trying to document for so long. And what's interesting about this is that he was arrested for disorderly conduct, property damage, not for the knife, because there was no evidence. He saw evidence of the brick markings on the sidewalk. He saw evidence of smashed bricks. He saw evidence of property damage.
The statements from the kids who saw it didn't count because they
didn't count because he didn't lunge. And he didn't threaten and say, I'm going to kill you. And because he didn't lunge forward, he just brandished.
And you just let them know I have it.
Mm-hmm. So
it was intimidation.
So then India was filming, and when he was, and I said, I am just nervous for my own children that if he goes to jail, like we're gonna pay for that.
Yeah.
And he said he needs to go. I'll make the call for you. I'm taking him to jail. And I was like, oh. And he said he needs to go because we need to like give him the boundary. Like you're gonna go to jail every time this happens, and if it's enough times, then it's not jail anymore and it's prison, or whatever. So.
Well, do we all know the difference between prison and jail?
You explain it because you got the cop dad.
Well, I mean, I don't, and I'm sure it's different in every state, but basically, and different, it depends on, like the city and the county and what kind of police department you have. But basically, there's like a small jail where they hold you, right, for a little while. And then there's like a place they take you while you wait trial. And then after trial, when you're sentenced, that's when you go to big jail that you go all the way.
Yeah. Okay. So he is handcuffed and he's being walked to the car, and India is filming, and you can hear him say, "This is BS."
You got anything on you, man? Is this quick poke me? No, I have my wallet in my left pocket. Okay. Which wrist? No. It's not bullshit. It's not saying you freak out on kids, bro. I'm not freaking out on kids. You did. You broke some brakes and you're yelling and screaming, right? You got a knife in your pocket. Scott, you have my phone? Right here.
And the cop's like, "No, man, this is not BS. You intimidated, you are threatening kids, and you have a knife in your back pocket. You're going to jail." And he did say, "I will tell him that you did not want him to go to jail and that I'm making this call." And I said, "Thank you."
Well, that's good.
So then as India is going to a dress rehearsal for a dance concert, she's walking out the door. Brett is in the back seat handcuffed, and he looks out the window to see her and says, "You're a big effing N-word," in slow-mo, like with his mouth. I said, "He said that from the cop car?" She's like, "Yes." And he made sure to say it slow so that he knew that I knew what he was saying.
What in the heck?
So he's in jail at the moment, and the neighbor came back. My neighbor Scott's actually going to be the one to go pick him up.
Really?
Oh my God, great. He just said that they're still letting people out from last night. So he's going to be there all day because they're still getting people out.
That they pulled, yeah.
And then I came home, I left for an hour and came home to a flood. So it's been an eventful day.
Wait, where's the flood?
I've had a problem with the water pressure. It all stems to I stopped adding salt pellets to my water softener because I was like, it's a luxury. I cannot afford even $2 salt pellets. I was saving everything for food. So I stopped putting the salt pellets in. So the hard water in Sandy has killed all my appliances, is destroyed shower heads, it has destroyed the tankless water heater, all of these things. And so we finally got a new one, finally flushed out the tankless water heater, but it has jacked up the pressure. It has jacked up.
So you call my friend again?
Oh, Brett, yes. Poor guy was at my house all day.
Today?
Yes. Oh. Not all day, all morning.
Isn't he the best?
He was a sweetheart. And it's not his fault. It's because
we
waited.
He actually told me yesterday when I saw him down the street, he's like, I think I might have to go back because I'm worried about the water heater. Yeah. He was like, the warranty is void. Anyway, so.
Yeah, that's another one. Another story. So I have him cleaning up a flood, been yelled at and screamed at.
Your poor kids.
The B word. Yeah, I know.
I can't.
So back to the very beginning of this podcast, that's something that will live with them forever.
Well, and the thing is, the viewers probably, I mean, if they watch your vlog, yeah, they probably can get your kids' personalities. But when I met India for the first time, I pulled up in the driveway and she was playing at the neighbor's house. They were playing like t-ball or something with this cute little family, and she comes right up to the car, and she is just the kindest, sweetest. She just has this like light about her. You can tell. I mean, I know some of the hard stuff that she's been through, but she doesn't wear it in her countenance.
Yeah, she's really good.
She is just a happy, good human. And I can't imagine. I mean, it's like I've always said, if somebody doesn't like my brother or my mother, they're the two people on this planet that, like, if you don't like them, there's something wrong with you. I know it's you and not them, basically,
Yeah.
And I feel that way about India. I don't know how somebody could say something like that to her.
And that's when you said, that tells me all I need to know about him.
Yeah. I mean.
Did you want to tell me your Costco story?
I mean, it just kind of leads into our kids is all. That's what I was thinking about, is just.
But again, because of what you experienced, it has lived with you forever and
Yeah.
brought up all these memories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just because I was, before Julie's text in Costco today, I was shopping and I found myself bawling in the freezer section. And I am not a crier. I just am not super emotional. But I got a text from my best friend growing up who they had just announced that they were having this surprise. I mean, he didn't tell me if it was planned or a surprise, but his youngest is like, he's got to be 7 or something, you know. So I'm assuming it's a surprise. And he texted a picture of the baby that his wife delivered at 21 weeks. They had just announced it.
Did it survive?
No. Oh, no.
Well, no. I mean, because they're viable at 22 weeks.
If you're lucky, 22, 23. But that's, I mean, I think that's pretty rare. So, but that happened to me. And so it just like brought back this flood of memories from a decade ago. And I texted back as quick as I could. And I just said, you know, all the empathy in the world is basically what I tried to say. You know, it sits with me so deep and it's hard to describe, but the experiences that you have with your children, even if it's for a few minutes or just carrying them, like there's nothing more important in this world than our children.
Yeah.
And to see somebody abuse them is hard enough on us, but imagine these little spirits, these little, you know, as you and I talk about all these things, we talk about how naive we can be. But we were naive because we were raised in these homes with parents that loved us and treated us so well that it's hard for us to fathom the way that some people treat others, especially their children. And the people that, you know, that we've talked about in this podcast, a lot of them have been treated horribly as children. And that's why they treat others horribly. And I just think it all comes back around to the things that happen to us. We can either use them to fuel us and to become better and to learn and to grow, or they damn us. Mm-hmm. We become worse and cantankerous, just critical human beings. And, you know, I mean.
And again, that has lived with you forever.
Yeah. I mean.
And it's surfaced, how many years ago was it?
It was about a decade ago. I just think about my experience and I think, like when I was sitting there in Costco thinking about my friend, I know he's had a little bit of some hard things going on. I don't talk to him. I mean, obviously he's a he. And he's married, and I'm married. Mm-hmm. My best friend is now my husband, not him. Yeah. So it's not like we stay in touch. But
so it was him that called.
He texted me.
So he was your friend.
Yeah. I'm friends with his wife too. He married an amazing woman, and I love her. But he's the one that texted. But I was just thinking about, you know, their life the last couple of years, and I just thought, I know what they're going through, and I hope that when the shock runs out and when they are able to come together, that they do come together, and that this makes them better than they were before, because it has the potential to do a lot of damage. A lot of parents don't. I mean, this situation is not the same as losing, you know, a 5-year-old who gets hit by a car or whatever. Right. But it is a loss, and it is it's really hard to get through. And I hope that it's something that builds them and strengthens them and doesn't do the opposite, because all of these things that we talk about, whether it's a red flag or an experience like this, it has the potential to build us up or to tear us down. And a lot of it is up to us to decide.
Exactly. So I guess put in the comments or your questions, or you can text us and say, what is something maybe that has stuck with you forever, whether that's from childhood or some experience that has surfaced later that has maybe helped you become better.
I want to know what people are doing. Like, what can we do for your kids? How do we talk to them? How do we like help them process? I know we're getting long on this podcast, but there was a neighbor kid down the street that had cancer a couple times. Actually, he's healthy now, as far as I know. They moved away, but I know that he did some play therapy to move the trauma from one side of his brain to the other side of his brain, and that helped him kind of build new pathways in his brain.
My mom talked to someone who was going through some trauma, and her therapist started telling her to write with her non-dominant hand. Start learning to write with your left hand, which will open up will
create new pathways
and synapses in your brain, help you think differently, help you have different perspectives.
I've actually done that. Yeah. Did I tell you that?
Well, left-handers, I feel like, can do that. You guys can do everything left and right-handed.
There's that's ambidextrous people can do that. But I wanted to learn how to do calligraphy, and your hands, like, it's like playing the piano and you do it too fast because it's like muscle memory. Your hand has a muscle memory, and in order to do calligraphy, you have to slow down. And so I was like, well, I can't do anything fast with my right hand, and so that's how I learned calligraphy.
And you did it with your right hand?
Yeah,
I mean, way.
Yeah, and it was cool. I haven't done it in years because I have too many kids now, but it was actually a really cool practice. But I think there's a lot of things that you can do in like that arena of thinking and doing.
Yeah, now we're getting into like, and you can do EMDR and you can do ART and all the. We got a lot of experts coming on the show here pretty soon, but we are almost an hour in. Are you proud of us?
Crap.
I know. And hopefully the sound works. So it was an eventful day, a scary day, a hard day, obnoxious day, but we're here and we are here for you. So let us know what you think in the comments. Text in your experiences, and we will see you next time, or maybe like in an hour when we record this again. Okay, bye.